Hi, my name is Chris and this is Battle Nonsense. Final Stand has left the CTE again, but it shouldn't be too long until we get the final version. What this means is that the CTE is now back to normal, and normal means prototype. But before we look at the new changes, I want to mention that the PlayStation and the Xbox players are now also able to sign up for the CTE. The only requirement is that you own Battlefield 4 and Premium. If you do, then you just need to head over to the CTE website and sign up. Then you can join the discussion on the forums. If you own a PC, then you can download and install Origin and then play the Battlefield 4 CTE on your PC. There's currently no CTE for the PlayStation or the Xbox. For that to happen, DICE would need to get self-publishing rights on the console, so that their CTE builds do not have to go through certification. I do know that DICE LA also wants to get the CTE to the consoles, but at the moment it is not clear if they get the permission for self-publishing from Sony and Microsoft. Now heading on to the changes in this patch. There are two big ones, the helicopter physics and the head glitching fixes. I didn't have much time yet to try out the helicopter physics in the CTE, but they appear to be very close to the numbers which I used in my video where I showed you what you can do by just changing a few numbers around. So during the next few days I will do more testing and then have a separate video for you about the helicopter physics. But in this video I want to focus on the head glitching fix. If you don't know what head glitching is, and if you have never heard that you shoot the projectiles out of your eyeballs and not the barrel of your gun, then you should have a look at my visual recoil "It's all in your head" video, where I explained all of that. You should really watch this first before you continue here. Alright, so what we've got in the CTE is the first prototype of the head glitching fix. You must understand that this is not final, it might get changed a lot. Actually, I expect quite a few changes. So currently the change only works with a few selected weapons. This means that if you're going to test this out yourself, then make sure that you use one of these. Otherwise you will notice no difference, because only these weapons have the changes. Okay, so I returned to the place where I recorded the different impacts in the visual recoil video, which you have watched by now, right? So let's have a look what happens now after this change in the CTE. We can clearly see that the projectile impacts in the same spot in all views of all players, so that is something that got fixed. But that is not the head glitching issue, so let's test now if I can still hit that player when only a part of my head is revealed and my weapon is clearly behind cover. No, I can't hit him anymore. The shots I fire impact in the object. Now let's have a look what happens when I'm using a pistol which has not been changed. And as expected, I can easily hit the player. And if we change back to the primary, which has the fix, then the projectiles impact in the object. So it seems that the head glitching has been fixed, but let's do a bit more testing just to be sure. So there's still only a very small part of my head exposed behind that object, and it is very easy for me to aim at that player. So what I expected to happen is that my shot would impact in the object I'm hiding behind. But as we have seen, I only need to look up a little bit and then I can shoot over the object again. Or through the object from the other player's view. Now let me show you one more example how small that view change is to be able to shoot over the object. So the first prototype of the head glitching fix does work, however it only works for the most extreme cases of head glitching. And now let's have a look what kind of change has been done to the weapons for this fix. As I've showed you in the visual recoil video, the projectiles come from the center of your screen. However, this is what has been changed in this CTE patch. They spawn about 6 cm lower now, which means that they are about on the same level as the sights on your gun. I can show you that very easily by simply shooting at that object. So that impact is clearly below the red dot, and if we compare it to the impact of the pistol, then it becomes a little bit more obvious. So by spawning the projectile a little bit lower, it is more likely to impact in an object that I am hiding behind, which should help with the head glitching. But by looking a little bit up, I can still shoot over that object, because it has only been lowered by 6 centimeters. But this change sounds like all the crosshairs are now wrong, since the projectile does not spawn at the center of it. This would be right if the projectile would spawn normally, but it isn't. This is the trajectory of the projectile before the change. It starts and then it begins to fall with the distance. And this is what it looks like with the change. The projectile spawns 6 cm lower and first flies upwards. It then zeroes in at about 20 meters and then begins to fall with the distance. So you are still able to place that headshot. This approach is definitely a good idea, and it is also working very well in some cases, as I've showed you. But this prototype is still far away from a satisfying solution for the head glitching issue. The question is what DiceLA can do about it, as their options are limited. If the game would have proper aiming down sights animations, so that you see the other player actually raising their weapon up to the eye level, and if there would not be objects on the maps that allow head glitching in the first place, then this would be a much easier fix. So I'm curious to see what DiceLA will do with this prototype over time, and I will keep you updated about the changes they do. And before I end the video, I want to quickly show you a new option for the head-up display. Inside the advanced section you will find a show ranks option. If you turn it on, then you will see the rank of your squad members and the passengers of the vehicle you are in. The position of the ranks does need a little bit of tweaking, but there will be surely players who enjoy this feature. If you enjoyed this video, then give it a like, subscribe for more, and I hope to see you next time. Until then, have a nice day and take care. My name is Chris, and this was Battle Nonsense.